Cover your eyes. I'll do it on 3, okay? 1, 2. A guttural moan sounded from the mouth of the cave and carried its way to us. I saw the color drain from Jess's face, and I knew mine was doing the same. It was back. Without thinking, I pulled the trigger. The gun cracked, deafening in a small space, and the chain shattered. I grabbed Jess before she could react and pulled her up, sprinting towards the museum. As we entered into it, I dived behind a table full of bric-a-brac, pulling her down behind me. No sooner than we'd landed on the floor, I saw the creature enter the room and scramble over to the passage we'd just exited from. As soon as it was gone from sight, I pulled her back up and pushed her towards the passage that led to the cave mouth. She didn't need to be told twice, and we ran as fast as our legs could carry us. As the cave mouth came into view, a scream full of horror and anger rang from behind us. It had discovered its meal had been stolen. As we got to the cave mouth, I could hear wood splintering and the tinkle of dozens of tiny objects hitting the floor as it tore through the museum after us. I grabbed Jess's foot and hoisted her up till she grabbed the lip of the depression and pulled herself into the clearing. I spun around and saw it exit the passage into the main chamber. Its hood had fallen down and exposed what can only be described as half-insect, half-human face. I fired a shot off in its direction and it screeched in agony as the .44 caliber bullet connected its thigh, knocking it back for a second. I took the distraction and spun around, leaping for the edge of the depression and grabbing hold. Jess seized me by the collar and helped pull me up, just as I felt hook fingers brush the bottom of my shoe. We started to run across the clearing. The sun was coming up now and the sky was a pinky red, casting slight glow on everything. We ran and ran and ran. The whole while I could hear it crashing through the trees after us. If I hadn't hit it in the thigh, I don't think we would have stood a chance of outrunning it. But somewhere, someone was watching over us. It was about 45 minutes before we reached the creek, and by the time we saw the edge of the woods, an hour had passed. I still to this day do not know how we managed to run so fast and far without stopping, but I do remember the adrenaline coursing through me so violently that I shook for hours afterwards. When we reached Fenter, I fired the gun off into the air. Within 2 minutes, dumbstruck town people surrounded us, some asking what had happened, others grabbing and hugging Jess, and most just staring blankly. When Jess's father arrived, he broke down and cried, holding his girl to his chest and thanking God and me equally for his daughter's safe return. When my father arrived, he took the gun from me, put his hand on my shoulder and gave me a look. It was a look that said he didn't care what had happened, just that he was glad I was safe. Regardless, we had to explain to the sheriff what had happened. After we had both explained our stories, a group was organized and armed, and I was asked to lead my dad, the sheriff, and 20 or so other men to the cave. I was tired and reluctant to go back, but next to my dad, I felt safe. After a couple of hours, we came across the clearing and found the cave system, just as we described. The museum was empty. The shattered chain was found at the back untouched, and a brief examination of the other caves revealed them to contain skeletons of other people, later identified as missing persons from towns that backed off of the Fenter Woods. A medical check showed they had been dead for days. The woods were searched all day, but nothing was turned up. That night, as I looked out of my window before going to bed, I saw it again, standing at the edge of the woods. It looked at me through my window for a while. I stared back, like when we'd first encountered one another, and then it turned and walked back into the woods. I knew this would be the last time I saw it. It was moving on to another place, away from Fenter, from this area. The woods were searched for another week, but nothing was found. The official report stated that people had been kidnapped and killed by a maniac who had escaped into the wilderness before he could be apprehended, although the people of Fenter never questioned our versions of the story. So that is my account. This all happened 12 years ago now, and is but a distant memory. Jess has just finished university and is going on to become a lawyer for animal rights, and I am working on the family farm after dropping out of college. I tell you this story not to entertain you, but as a warning. Next time you decide to go hiking in the mountains or camping in the woods, it is still out there, and next time, it might be your town it decides to visit. Be safe.